Hello everyone and welcome to Rollinish. I'm Matt, and in this video we're going to be looking at Xanathar's Guide to Everything. This is a supplemental resource book that came out shortly after the Player's Handbook did in 2014, and it offers additional resources for you to plug into your game, including subclasses for all of the standard classes for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out our class playlist. There we have an intro to video for all the classes that explains what they get, levels 1 through 20, when you choose that class. In addition, there are the subclasses for each class and videos that break down what those options get when you choose your subclass as they appear in the Player's Handbook. This is going to dive into the additional subclasses that appear in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So if you see a little tag in the name of the video that starts with XGtE, that's Xanathar's Guide to Everything. To help you differentiate the difference between those and those that show up in the Player's Handbook. So we're going to kick things off with the fighter class today, and we're looking at the Arcane Archer. The Arcane Archer is a very unique style of elven magic that is weaved into archery. And these special attacks produce supernatural effects. These are some of the most, how you want to play this is like some of the most elite archers among the elves. They stand watch over the fringes of their domains. They keep eye out for trespassers and use magic-infused arrows to defeat monsters and invaders before they reach settlements. So they're really on the outskirts trying to protect as like the first line of defense. There are some really cool features you get at levels 3rd, 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th, and we're going to explore all of those now. The first feature you get is at 3rd level, and it is called Arcane Archer Lore. You get to gain proficiency in either Arcana or Nature as a skill, and then you get to learn either the Prestidigitation or Druidcraft cantrip. Prestidigitation is known to clean things up, whereas Druidcraft is known to do small nature-based things, including like tell you what the weather's going to be like. Or you could just do this. Arcane Archer is another feature you get at 3rd level. Once per turn, you fire an arrow from a short bow or longbow as part of your attack action. You can apply an arcane shot option to your arrow. You decide to use the option when the arrow hits. So you don't have to call it before you shoot it. When it hits, you can call it. Unless that option doesn't involve an attack roll. You get 2 uses of this ability, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a short or a long rest. You gain additional arcane shot options that you can choose from as you reach certain levels at 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th. And each option improves when you become an 18th level fighter. So this is going to be your hook into not multi-classing, right? To get you stronger as an archer here. At 7th level, and we're going to go into those arcane shot options towards the end, because there's a lot of them, and I want to get through what you get at other levels, and then we'll dive into those shot options. At 7th level, you get Magic Arrow. Whenever you fire a non-magical arrow from a short bow or longbow, you can make it magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. So as you get to those higher challenge rating creatures that have resistances to non-magical attacks or even immunities to non-magical attacks, this is going to help you overcome that. Also at 7th level, you get something called Curving Shot. This is my favorite part about it. When you make an attack roll with a magic arrow and you miss, you can use your bonus action to re-roll the attack against a different target within 60 feet of the original target. So it's like you miss your original target and then the arrow turns magically and hits the other person. So I'm all about that, turning my hits into misses. And if I miss again, well, that's just the dice. That is just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Yeah, so as long as they're within 60 feet and that new roll meets or beats that AC of the new target, you're good to go. At 15th level, you get Ever Ready Shot. This is if you roll initiative and you have no uses of arcane shot remaining, so maybe you've already done some battling in this day of adventuring, and you're out of arcane shot options. If you roll initiative with no options, you regain at least one use. Okay. Some classes have similar features. We're going to see it in a little bit again, but that's a nice thing to have, to at least give you one to have a leg to stand on. Okay, so now we talked about arcane shot at 3rd level, and as you reach higher levels, you get more options, and those options become stronger at 18th level. Let's take a look and see what those arcane shot options are. They are presented in Xanathar's Guide to Everything in alphabetical order, not like leveled order. So we're going to review those in just a moment. If the option requires a saving throw, your arcane shot difficulty class equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. So as a fighter, I know a lot of times fighters focus on strength or dex, depending on the weapons you want to use. And sometimes they lean into con to get as much health as possible. You're going to want to put some effort into your intelligence if you're going to play an Arcane Archer. If you think about it, you know, wizards use the most arcane magic out of any class, and they do so using their intelligence. So this, in a way, in your backstory could be like, hey, I was taught this, right? I was so good at archery class, they sent me to this magical archery class, and that's how I became an Arcane Archer, because I'm smart and I can figure it out. I can do it. That's a good way to implement that into your story. But the DC that they'll have to beat if you need a saving throw, if you need your target to make a saving throw, is going to be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. If they meet or beat that, then you're going to fail. They're going to succeed on that saving throw. All right, let's look at the options. First, we have Banishing Arrow. This is going to temporarily banish your target to a harmless location in the Feywild. So probably just a thicket somewhere in the woods, perhaps. The creature hit by the arrow must also succeed on a charisma saving throw or be banished. Okay, that's a charisma saving throw. The DC is going to be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Remember that. While banished in this way, the target's speed is 0 and they're incapacitated. They're kind of just frozen in place. At the end of its next turn, the target reappears in the space it vacated or in the nearest unoccupied space if that space is occupied. So you're basically making them go away and lose a turn. At the end of that turn that they lose, they come back. Okay, so it's making them skip a turn. That's the benefit. After you reach 18th level in this class, the target also takes 2d6 force damage when the arrow hits it. So when the arrow hits it, it banishes. It's not really taking the damage. That's how I'm reading that. Their speed is 0. They're incapacitated. That's the result. Usually it's damage. That's the result. They're banished. They're gone. They lose a turn. They're frozen in place. They come back at the end of their next turn. At 18th level, they'll take 2d6 damage on top of all that stuff. That's how it strengthens. Beguiling Arrow. The creature hit by the arrow takes an extra 2d6 psychic damage and choose one of your allies within 30 feet of the target. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. Again, the DC is going to be 8, your proficiency bonus, and your intelligence modifier. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or it is charmed by the chosen ally, your ally that you picked, until the start of your next turn. This effect ends early if the chosen ally attacks the charmed target, deals damage to it, or forces it to make a saving throw. The psychic damage increases from 2d6 to 4d6 when you reach 18th level. Next, you have Bursting Arrow. The energy detonates after your attack. Immediately after the arrow hits the creature, the target, and all other creatures within 10 feet of it take 2d6 force damage each. The force damage increases to 4d6 when you reach 18th level. I like that. Enfeebling Arrow. The creature hit by the arrow takes 2d6 necrotic damage. The target must also succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or the damage dealt by this weapon attack is halved at the start of your next turn, until the start of your next turn. The necrotic damage increases to 4d6 when you reach 18th level. Grasping Arrow. The creature hit by the arrow takes an extra 2d6 poison damage. Its speed is reduced by 10 feet, and it takes 2d6 slashing damage the first time on each turn it moves 1 foot or more without teleporting. So this is like a grasping arrow. It's almost like, the bramble shot on Critical Role, but like if you've got, grasping vines spell, or druid in your party, they would know a little bit about this. It's like thorny vines wrap around your target. That's where that piercing damage is coming. The slashing damage is coming in play if they try to move, because they're going to move against those scratchy type things. The target or any creature that can reach it can use its action to remove the brambles with a successful athletics check against your arcane shot DC. 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Otherwise, the brambles last for a minute or until you use this option again. The poison damage increases to 4d6 when you reach 18th level. There's Piercing Arrow. When you use this option, you don't make an attack roll for the attack. Instead, the arrow shoots forward in a line which is 1 foot wide, 30 feet long before disappearing. The arrow passes harmlessly through objects, ignoring cover. Each creature in that line must make a dex saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes damage as if it were hit by the arrow, plus an extra 1d6 piercing damage. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage. This damage is going to increase to 2d6 when you reach 18th level. That's really cool. You can get multiple in one shot, especially if they're all lined up. Just hits you, hits you, hits you, hits you. That's pretty cool. You know who does that a lot? Like kobolds. Kobolds, and I think maybe even gnolls, have pack tactics, so they like to stick together. Sometimes they line up. That's a good way to take them out. All right, Seeking Arrow. When you use this option, you don't make an attack roll. Instead, choose one creature you have seen in the past minute. The arrow flies towards that creature, moving around corners if necessary and ignoring 3/4 cover and half cover. If the target is within the weapon's range and there is a path large enough for the arrow to travel through, the target must make a dexterity saving throw. Otherwise, the arrow disappears after traveling as far as it can. On a failed save, the target takes damage as if it were hit by the arrow, plus 1d6 force damage, and you learn their current location. Oh, I love that. It's like a heat-seeking missile. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage, and you don't learn its location. The force damage increases to 2d6 when you reach 18th level. Lastly, you have Shadow Arrow. The creatures hit by the arrow takes 2d6 psychic damage. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be unable to see anything farther than 5 feet away until the start of your next turn. The psychic damage increases to 4d6 when you reach 18th level in this class. Love that. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 options for Arcane Shot. And remember, you get 2 of them right away at 3rd level. And then you get another one at 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th. That's a total of 6 out of the 8 options. So 2 of them will get left out. But if you ride this out to 20th level, you'll get 6 of these 8 options and just pick your damage type, really. These are all great options to have. Okay, we are moving on to Cavalier. That is the next option in this fighter class. And Cavaliers are those who are going to be mounted. These are like horseback knights, okay? They're going to ride their mounts into battle. They'll ride their mounts as much as they can. They have a mount because typically they're born of nobility or raised at court, so they have access to stable masters and stables and horses. They are at home leading the cavalry charge or exchanging, conversation at dinner. So that's like their job, okay? I feel like this is like the cop out of all the fighters. This one's the cop. Anyway, you get some pretty cool features at 3rd, 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th level. We're going to take a look at those now. Starting at 3rd level, you get bonus proficiency. This means you get to pick an additional skill to be proficient in. Your options are animal handling, history, insight, performance, and persuasion. It just makes sense to take animal handling here because you're handling animals, you're riding mounts. Whether that be a horse or, maybe you want to ride a panther. I have a paladin with a fine steed spell, and he rides an elk. Like, because I just thought that would be cool. So you could do that. That makes the most sense here, but to each their own, just depending on what you're putting in your backstory. You also get to learn another language at this point, which is helpful. Also at 3rd level, you get a feature called Born to the Saddle. This is great. You have advantage on saving throws made to avoid falling off your mount. Even if you fail and you do fall off your mount and descend no more than 10 feet, you land on your feet and you're not incapacitated. So you're like a cat. You're always landing on your feet. Okay? Also, mounting and dismounting your mount only costs you 5 feet of movement each instead of half of your movement. So that's really cool. Lastly, at 3rd level, you get Unwavering Mark. This is also a very neat feature. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you mark them until the end of your next turn. This ends early if you're incapacitated or you die. So it's almost like concentration without the check. While it is within 5 feet of you, a marked creature has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. So if they're trying to attack a teammate. So as long as your marked creature is within 5 feet of you and they attack someone else, they got to do it with disadvantage. If a creature marked by you deals damage, so maybe they hit, to anyone other than you, you can make a special melee weapon attack against the marked creature as a bonus action on your next turn. Not a reaction right here. As a bonus action on your next turn. You get advantage on that bonus action attack. And if you hit, that bonus action attack's weapon deals extra damage to the target equal to half your fighter level. So at level 3, it's 1. But let's say you're a level 14 fighter. That's a +7 right there. So this is a bonus action attack on your next turn. The bonus action attack has advantage. Not your normal attacks on your next turn. That special bonus action attack has advantage. And it deals that extra damage. You got to be careful on how you read these things. Okay. Regardless of the number of creatures that you mark, you can make this special attack a number of times equal to your strength modifier. And you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. That's pretty cool. I'll take that. Warding maneuver. If you or a creature that you can see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack, you can roll a d8 as a reaction, as if you're wielding a melee weapon or a shield. So if you're wielding a melee weapon or shield, you can roll a d8. You roll the die, you add the number rolled to the target's AC against the attack. If the target still hits, if that attack still hits, even after that, the target gets resistance to that damage. So you're protecting a teammate by trying to block the blow, and even if you don't, you block it enough to lessen the damage. I like that a lot. Let's roll a d8 right now and see what we get. 7. I rolled a 7. So adding 7 to an AC, especially if that's my mage, I might keep my wizard, my sorcerer close by, my mount to be like, just stick with me and I'll help protect you, right? That would be good. Adding 7 to a what? What's a wizard going to have? A 12 AC? 11 AC? That'll be helpful. All right, next at 10th level, you get, by the way, you can use this feature a number of times. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier, and you gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay. Hold the line. At 10th level, you become a master of locking down your enemies. Creatures provoke an opportunity attack from you when they move 5 feet or more while they're within your reach, and you hit a creature with an opportunity attack. The speed is reduced to 0 until the end of the current turn. So if you're going to take the opportunity attack, you stop them from moving if you hit. So if the creature's going to move away and I'm going to move over here, all right, first I get my opportunity attack. If you hit, they're done moving. Their speed becomes 0 until the end of the current turn. So that's it. You can stop them from doing what they were trying to do. That's good. Hold the line. Ferocious Charger at 15th level. If you move at least 10 feet in a straight line before attacking a creature and you hit, that target must succeed on a strength saving throw. Again, the DC here is a little different. This is not your Arcane Archer anymore. We're talking Cavalier. DC is going to be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier. Or you get knocked prone if you fail. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. But remember, you got to still follow all the rules there. You got to make sure you're moving 10 feet in a straight line. You got to make sure you hit. They got to fail that save and throw. They'll be knocked prone if they fail. Once per turn. Pretty cool. Vigilant Defender at 18th level. You get a special reaction here that you can take once on every creature's turn except your turn. You can use this special reaction only to make an opportunity attack, and you can't use it on the same turn that you take your normal reaction. Wow. So you have an action, bonus actions. You have a reaction. You only get one per turn, right? You use it. You can't use it again until the start of your next turn. You get it back, right? This is an extra reaction that you can take on anyone else's turn but your own. So truly a reaction. Basically, you get 2 reactions. That's pretty cool. You just can't use your second reaction on the time you use your original reaction. You're going to have to wait a turn to use it sooner, if that makes sense. Okay, that's Vigilant Defender. Lastly, we have Samurai. So Samurai is probably, out of all the classes and the subclasses that are listed in Xanathar's, this is probably in my top 3. I really like this for fighter. And I love that they included this little piece here about Cavaliers and Samurais in history. Of course, we had horseback knights, we had samurai in world history here on Earth, right? These subclasses are not meant to depict them historically. It's meant to depict them comic book style, make them heroic even. So it takes the good parts about them and makes them into a subclass, which I really like. You get good features here for Samurai at 3rd, 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th. Starting at 3rd level, you get proficiency in a skill of your choice between history, insight, performance, and persuasion. Alternatively, you can forego that and learn a language of your choice. I like that option there. At 3rd level, you get something called Fighting Spirit. As a bonus action on your turn, you can give yourself advantage on weapon attack rolls until the end of your current turn. So this would be, take your bonus action first, then your attacks after that. Give yourself advantage on those attacks. When you do that, you get 5 temporary hit points, and the number of temporary hit points you get increases as you level. So at 10th level, instead of getting 5, you get 10. At 15th level, instead of getting 10, you get 15. You can use this feature 3 times, and you get all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So literally just giving yourself advantage. Using a bonus action to give yourself advantage on your attack rolls. Just because. Love it. At 7th level, there's a feature called Elegant Courtier. Whenever you make a persuasion check, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your wisdom modifier. Nice. It's about self-control, right? You also causes you to gain proficiency in the wisdom saving throw. If you already have this proficiency, you can instead gain proficiency in intelligence or charisma saving throw, your choice, if you already have wisdom. Score. So that could give you some options. I like the versatility there. Tireless Spirit, starting at 10th level when you roll initiative and have no uses of your fighting spirit left, you regain a use. This was similar to what we saw earlier in this video with some of the other features. When you start your initiative roll with 0, because you've been fighting all day, you get 1 back to use. I like that. Rapid Strike. This might be my favorite feature. Okay. If you take the attack action on your turn and have advantage on an attack roll against one of the targets, you can forgo the advantage. Just roll normally. But by doing so, you get an extra attack against the target as part of the same action. You can do this no more than once per turn. So you could be giving yourself advantage with your fighting spirit as a bonus action, and then turning that into a separate attack instead of. So what is stopping you every turn from attacking with advantage or getting an extra attack by setting yourself up with the advantage by burning your bonus action and then swapping that out for the extra attack here. Rapid strike, right? Give up your bonus action to get advantage. That's fighting spirit. Now that I have advantage on an attack roll, I can forego that to make an extra attack against that target as part of the same action. What's stopping you from stacking those? Nothing. So you should be either having advantage on your attack rolls all the time by burning that bonus action, or getting that extra attack. Now, if you need your bonus action for second wind or action surge because you're a fighter still, great. Use your bonus action to do your thing. But this is a great, like, round 1 option. Round 2, I'm going to get another attack instead of my advantage. That's why I like Samurai so much. It is like the fighter's fighter. Love it. Here's another good one. Strength before death at 18th level. If you take damage that reduces you to 0 hit points, normally you fall unconscious and we're making death saves, right? If it doesn't kill you outright. If you take damage that reduces you to 0, that's not killing you outright, you can use your reaction to delay falling unconscious. You immediately take an extra turn, interrupting the current turn. So not your turn, it's probably your DM's turn. Interrupting it. While you have 0 hit points during that extra turn, taking damage causes death saving throw failures as normal, and 3 death saves can still kill you. But this is delaying it to make an extra attack. Once you do that attack, you fall unconscious, you still have 0 hit points. Just try and make sure that that attack that you do doesn't have any kind of kickback effect where you also take damage, right? There are some that can happen that way. Just make sure you don't do that because you're gonna blow a death saving throw. But that is really cool. It's like you're gonna go down, but you're a samurai, so you're relying on your inner strength and your honor to carry you forward. You get that extra turn right now, interrupting everything else. You make an attack, and then you fall. You collapse. I love that, man. That kind of inner strength in a setting like this is excellent. I love it. Strength before death. You get that at 18th level. What a great choice. Okay, friends, that was the Samurai, the Cavalier, and the Arcane Archer for the fighter class. Our next video is going to cover what you get as subclass options or monastic traditions for the monk class from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Until then, keep rolling those dice, and we'll see you at the table.